History is not as complete as we like to believe. Every year, archaeologists uncover thousands of objects buried beneath deserts, oceans, and ancient ruins. Most discoveries quietly fit into the timeline we already know. But sometimes, something appears that doesn't belong. An artifact that seems too advanced for its time. A structure that shouldn't exist according to accepted history. A map that shows knowledge no civilization should have had. When discoveries like these appear, historians face a dangerous question. What if the official timeline of human civilization is wrong? Because if even one of these artifacts is genuine, then it means ancient humans may have possessed knowledge we still struggle to understand today. In this episode, we will explore 10 forbidden archaeological discoveries that continue to disturb historians, scientists, and researchers. Some of these objects were dismissed as hoaxes. Some were quietly ignored, and others remain locked inside museum archives with no clear explanation. But the deeper you look into these discoveries, the more one question begins to echo through history. What else is still buried beneath the earth and waiting to be found? And before we begin, if you enjoy exploring lost civilizations, hidden knowledge, and forbidden discoveries, subscribe to the channel. Because here, we don't just explore history. We explore the mysteries history tried to bury. Now, let's begin. Warning number 10. The Roman dodecahedron. In the 18th century, farmers in England made a strange discovery while plowing their fields. Buried in the soil was a small metal object. At first glance it looked decorative, a hollow bronze shape with 12 flat pentagonal faces, each face containing a circular hole. But the deeper researchers studied it, the stranger it became. This object became known as the Roman dodecahedron. And to this day, no one knows what it was used for. More than 120 Roman dodecahedrons have been discovered across Europe, from Britain to Germany to France. They date back nearly 1,700 years, during the height of the Roman Empire. Yet something shocking stands out. Despite Rome's incredible record keeping thousands of documents describing engineering, weapons, architecture, and tools, and not a single Roman text mentions the dodecahedron. Not once. Historians have proposed dozens of theories. A religious artifact, a measuring device for soldiers, a candle holder, a tool for knitting gloves, a range-finding instrument for Roman artillery, but none of these explanations fully match the design. Some researchers believe the holes may have allowed soldiers to calculate distances on the battlefield, an ancient targeting device. If that theory is correct, it would mean Roman armies possessed advanced optical measurement tools long before similar concepts appeared in modern military engineering. But the truth is, after nearly 2 centuries of research, the Roman dodecahedron remains a complete mystery, and its existence raises a disturbing possibility. How many technologies existed in ancient civilizations that were simply lost to time? Warning number 9. The London Hammer. In 1936, a couple named Max and Emma Hahn were hiking near London, Texas, when they discovered something that should have been impossible. Partially embedded inside a solid rock formation was a perfectly preserved hammer. At first, this seemed like nothing unusual. But when geologists examined the surrounding rock, they found something shocking. The stone encasing the hammer was estimated to be over 100 million years old. If that dating were correct, then the hammer would have existed during the time of dinosaurs. Of course, many scientists rejected the claim immediately. The idea of a modern tool existing millions of years ago would completely shatter our understanding of human history. However, further examination produced more strange details. The hammer's head was made from iron of extremely high purity, nearly 97% pure iron. Even modern metallurgy struggles to achieve such purity without advanced technology. Even more mysterious, the hammer showed almost no rust, despite being embedded in rock for decades after discovery. Critics argue that the rock simply formed around the hammer in recent centuries through natural mineral buildup. But supporters believe the object may represent something far more controversial. An example of what researchers call an out-of-place artifact. Objects that seem to exist in the wrong period of history. If artifacts like this are genuine, they raise an uncomfortable question. What if human civilization has existed, collapsed, and restarted many times before the one we know today? Warning number 8. The Dropa Stones. In the remote mountains between China and Tibet, an expedition in 1938 reportedly made one of the most controversial discoveries in archaeological history. Inside a cave system in the Bayan Kara-Ula Mountains, researchers discovered hundreds of strange stone discs buried in ancient graves. Each disc was roughly 12 inches wide with a hole in the center similar to a vinyl record. But the real mystery appeared when scientists looked closer. Carved along the spiral grooves of the stones were tiny microscopic symbols forming what appeared to be an unknown language. Years later, one researcher claimed he had partially translated the writing. According to his translation, the discs told a shocking story. Thousands of years ago, a mysterious group called the Dropa crashed their flying craft in the mountains. Stranded survivors supposedly lived among local tribes, leaving behind these discs as records of their arrival. Mainstream historians strongly reject this interpretation, arguing that the translation was never scientifically verified. Yet the story refuses to disappear. Because several researchers who attempted to study the discs claimed that the stones contained unusual magnetic properties. And even today, the exact location of many of the original discs remains unclear. Were they misunderstood artifacts from an unknown culture? A hoax? Or something else entirely? Whatever the truth may be, the Dropa stones remain one of the most mysterious and controversial discoveries ever reported. Warning number 7. The Voynich manuscript. In 1912, a rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich purchased an unusual manuscript from a collection of ancient texts. At first glance, the book looked like a medieval scientific document. But once scholars opened it, they realized something was deeply wrong. The entire manuscript was written in a language no one on earth could read. The pages were filled with elegant handwritten characters forming a script that looked structured, consistent, and deliberate yet completely unknown. Even more mysterious were the illustrations. The book contained strange drawings of plants that do not exist in nature. Complex astronomical diagrams, unknown symbols, and bizarre scenes of women bathing in what appear to be connected biological systems. Carbon dating later revealed that the manuscript was created around the early 1400s. For over a century, the world's greatest codebreakers have attempted to decipher it. Experts from intelligence agencies, linguists, mathematicians, even cryptographers who helped break enemy codes during World War II studied the Voynich manuscript. None of them succeeded. The structure of the text behaves like a real language. Words repeat with consistent patterns. Sentences follow rules similar to grammar. But despite decades of analysis, the meaning remains completely unknown. Some believe it could be a lost language from a forgotten culture. Others think it might be an advanced cipher designed to hide scientific knowledge. And a few researchers believe something far stranger: that the manuscript may contain knowledge that humanity simply was not meant to understand yet. Warning number 6. The Piri-Reis map. In 1929, historians examining archives in Istanbul discovered a map that shocked the entire scientific world. The map was drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral named Piri-Reis. At first glance it seemed like a normal early exploration map. But when researchers studied it closely, something impossible appeared. The map showed a remarkably accurate coastline of South America. This was strange because the map was drawn only 21 years after Columbus first reached the Americas. Even more shocking was another detail. Some researchers believe the map may depict the coastline of Antarctica. But Antarctica was not officially discovered until 1820, more than 300 years later. Even stranger, the coastline shown on the map appears to represent Antarctica without its ice sheet, revealing the land beneath. That would mean whoever created the original source maps used by Piri-Reis possessed knowledge of Antarctica thousands of years before modern civilization. Piri-Reis himself wrote notes on the map explaining that he compiled it from much older maps, some of which dated back to ancient civilizations. Historians remain deeply divided. Some believe the map is simply a misinterpretation of South American geography. Others argue it may preserve fragments of ancient cartographic knowledge lost after earlier civilizations collapsed. If that possibility is true, then somewhere in the distant past, humans may have mapped the world far more completely than we once believed. Warning number 5. The Sacsayhuaman stones. High above the city of Cusco in Peru stands one of the most astonishing structures ever built by human hands. The fortress of Sacsayhuaman. At first glance it appears to be a massive stone wall. But when engineers study it closely, the construction becomes almost unbelievable. The walls are made of enormous limestone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons. These stones were carved into complex polygonal shapes and fitted together with such precision that not even a sheet of paper can slide between them. No mortar, no cement, just perfect stone joints. The Inca civilization built this fortress more than 500 years ago. Yet the precision of the stonework rivals modern engineering. Even more mysterious is the way the stones interlock in irregular patterns. This design makes the walls extremely resistant to earthquakes. In fact, when powerful earthquakes have struck the region, Modern buildings collapsed, but the walls of Sacsayhuaman remained standing. Historians believe thousands of workers must have spent decades carving and transporting these stones. But there is one problem. Some of the stones are so large that modern cranes would struggle to move them today. So how were they lifted into place? Some theories suggest complex ramp systems. Others propose ancient engineering methods that were simply lost. But whatever the truth is, Sacsayhuaman reminds us that ancient civilizations were often far more advanced in practical engineering than we give them credit for. And it raises an uncomfortable thought. What other construction techniques might humanity have forgotten? Warning number 4. The Baghdad Battery. In the 1930s, archaeologists excavating near Baghdad uncovered a small clay jar that appeared completely ordinary. But inside the jar was something unusual. A copper cylinder. And inside that cylinder, an iron rod. When researchers later filled a replica of the jar with an acidic liquid like vinegar, something remarkable happened. It produced a small electrical charge. The artifact became known as the Baghdad Battery. If the interpretation is correct, the device may date back to around 2,000 years ago, during the Parthian Empire. That would mean ancient people may have discovered electricity long before modern science recognized it. But what would they use electricity for? Several theories exist. Some researchers believe it may have been used for electroplating, a process that uses electricity to coat metals with gold or silver. Others think it may have been part of religious rituals designed to produce small shocks. However, many historians remain skeptical. They argue the device may have simply been a container for scrolls or religious items. Yet the structure of the artifact strongly resembles modern battery designs. If the Baghdad Battery truly functioned as an electrical device, then it suggests ancient civilizations may have experimented with electricity nearly 2,000 years before the modern electrical age began. And if that knowledge once existed, why was it lost? The final part of this list contains discoveries that may challenge the very origins of civilization itself. Because the next structures and artifacts suggest something even more radical. That human history might be far older and far more complex than we were ever taught. Warning number 3. The Nazca Lines. In the vast desert plains of southern Peru lies one of the most mysterious archaeological sites on Earth. The Nazca Lines. Stretching across nearly 450 square kilometers, these enormous geoglyphs form giant shapes carved into the desert surface. Some depict animals, monkeys, spiders, hummingbirds, whales. Others form perfect geometric shapes stretching hundreds of meters across the ground. But here's the strange part. Most of these figures are so large that they can only be clearly seen from the sky. From ground level, they appear as nothing more than random lines in the sand. The Nazca civilization created these designs between 500 BCE and 500 CE. But archaeologists still debate the purpose behind them. Some believe they were part of religious rituals connected to water and fertility. Others suggest they were ceremonial pathways used during spiritual ceremonies. Yet their scale and precision continue to puzzle researchers. The lines were created by removing dark surface stones to reveal the lighter soil beneath. This simple technique allowed them to remain visible for nearly 2,000 years in the dry desert climate. However, one question refuses to disappear. Why would an ancient civilization create artwork designed to be seen from the sky when humans had no ability to fly? Some researchers believe the shapes may have been meant for spiritual beings or celestial gods. Others argue that the designs might have had astronomical significance, aligning with stars or seasonal events. Whatever their true purpose, the Nazca lines remain one of the largest and most mysterious artistic creations ever made by human hands. Warning number 2. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, Greek sponge divers exploring a shipwreck near the island of Antikythera discovered a strange corroded object among the debris. At first it looked like nothing more than a lump of bronze. But once scientists carefully examined it, they realized they had uncovered something extraordinary. Inside the corroded fragments were dozens of tiny interlocking gears. The object eventually became known as the Antikythera mechanism. Dating back to around 100 BCE, this device turned out to be the most sophisticated mechanical technology ever discovered from the ancient world. When reconstructed, researchers discovered the mechanism could predict solar eclipses, lunar cycles, planetary movements, Olympic Games schedules. Essentially, it functioned as an ancient analog computer. The complexity of the gear system stunned historians. Some gears contained over 200 precision-cut teeth. Nothing even remotely similar appeared again in historical records for nearly 1,400 years, until complex mechanical clocks were invented in medieval Europe. Which raises a disturbing question. If the ancient Greeks could build technology this advanced, what other devices might have existed that were lost when civilizations collapsed? Because the Antikythera mechanism suggests something historians once believed impossible. That ancient engineers may have possessed scientific knowledge far beyond what we expected for their time. Warning number 1. Göbekli Tepe. In southeastern Turkey stands a site that may be the most important archaeological discovery of the last century. Göbekli Tepe. When it was first excavated in the 1990s, archaeologists believed they had made a dating error. Because the site appeared to be far too old, radiocarbon analysis revealed something astonishing. Göbekli Tepe was built around 9600 BCE. That makes it over 11,000 years old. To understand how shocking that is, consider this. Göbekli Tepe is older than Stonehenge by 6,000 years. Older than the Egyptian pyramids by 7,000 years. According to traditional history, humans at that time were still simple hunter-gatherers. They had not yet developed agriculture, cities, or complex social structures. And yet, Göbekli Tepe contains massive stone pillars weighing up to 20 tons, arranged in sophisticated circular temples. Many pillars are covered in intricate carvings of animals, lions, snakes, birds, and mysterious symbols. Building such a structure would have required organized labor, planning, and engineering knowledge. But here's the most fascinating detail. After centuries of use, the people who built Göbekli Tepe intentionally buried the entire site beneath thousands of tons of soil. Almost as if they wanted it hidden. Why? No one knows. Some archaeologists believe the site may represent the earliest known religious complex in human history. Others think it may be evidence that organized civilization began thousands of years earlier than previously believed. But one thing is clear. Göbekli Tepe has already forced historians to reconsider the origins of human civilization. And it raises one final question. If such a massive and sophisticated site could remain hidden for 11,000 years, what else might still be buried beneath the earth? Waiting. Ending reflection. History often feels complete, but discoveries like these remind us that our understanding of the past is still evolving. Each new artifact has the potential to change what we believe about human civilization. And sometimes, the most important discoveries are the ones that raise more questions than answers. If you enjoy exploring mysteries like these, forgotten civilizations, hidden knowledge, and discoveries that challenge everything we know, make sure you subscribe. Because here on Top 10 Untold, we explore the stories that history almost erased. And the deeper we dig, the stranger the past becomes.